Okay, I would take it as no. Please let me know if you have any doubts in any of these topics that we are discussing. Okay. So let me. Okay. So let's get started with test ng today. So how do we exactly use this test ng? What is test ng? And that what that we are going to discuss today. Okay. So prior to that, the thing is like TestNG is kind of like a framework that we are going to use to organize our test execution. Okay. So
Srikanth, are you sharing your screen?
yeah, I'm just sharing. Yeah. So here, yeah. So we have some test cases. For example, see method one, we have method one. So likewise method two and method three, method four. Okay. So this is purely based on that, how do we exactly execute our test cases? Okay. For example, I want to execute this method one, method three. I want to skip this method two and method four. Or else I want to give the priority, like, method three should first execute and after that two, after that one, after that four. Okay. So, and after that, we want to do some actions. Okay. After every method, I want to do some action. Okay. Opening browser, closing browser, or else I want to set up something configuring reports or configuring some kind of like logs. Everything can be done with the help of like a test engine. Okay. So what is the thing the test engine is like? Test engine is kind of a framework which will help you to organize your test and it will handle the execution of your test. Okay. We'll go to directly the site which is like official site of test engine and we'll try to look into the things like how do we exactly handle annotations which are related to the test engine. Okay. So yeah, just give me a second, guys. Okay. So testng.org. Okay. So today we'll see that how do we exactly install this testng and how do we map with Eclipse. Okay. So how do we install it? There are different ways that we can use testng, like installation. Okay. So sorry. Yeah. So you can see I'm going to the documentation. So this is like testng official site. In that you can see all the documentation, and here we have given like here everything is like given what are the things that we are going to use as part of like test engine. Okay. So simple introduction, it says like test engine testing framework designed to simplify broad range of testing needs. Okay. So if you as we discussed, like how do we exactly execute our test cases and what are the different things that we want to configure before executing the test. Okay. So this will help you to organize all of them. Okay. So there is like another framework which we used to use is like unit, JUnit framework. Okay. So what is the difference between JUnit and TestNG? Is like JUnit has like only few annotations. Okay. TestNG is like it has got wide range of annotations. Okay. We'll discuss a lot of things that we are using as part of like TestNG annotations. Okay. So these are the different annotations here you can see. Okay. So it's like before set, after set. I'll show you like with the examples. How do we exactly use them and what are the different things that will work as part of like test engine. So these are the few properties that we are going to apply. So on the each and every test. Okay. So whenever it is required. So always run depends on methods, enabled group, inherit groups, only for groups. Okay. Few things like which we don't use often, so that we are going to skip, and rest of the things which we'll use as part of like test engine that we are going to discuss. Okay. So data provider name parallel. How do we execute this data provider in parallel? And we have like listeners parameters. Okay. Factory we often don't use. So we'll discuss about listeners parameters and test. Okay. At the rate test on at the rate test, what we apply as part of like at the rate test. Okay. So let me go with the first, how do we download it? And after that, how do we use it? Okay. So I'll go to this. Yeah, project here. you can see we don't have any testng installed yet. Okay, so we don't have any jar file installed yet in this particular project. Okay, so first and foremost thing is like we'll look into the installation, download, installation. After that, how do we use it? Okay, so I'll just write it down in a simple notepad. Okay, testng framework. Okay, and first is like download, installation, usage. Okay, so we'll see how do we use it. Okay, so usage and adding plugin to Eclipse. Okay, so first and foremost things about like testng is like, see, so here you can see we have a download option. Where do we need to go is like we need to go to the testng. I'll show you testng.org. Yeah. Okay. So here you can see it simply says that testng is a testing framework inspired from JUnit. Okay. As we discussed about JUnit and NUnit, both of them are like unit test cases. Okay. Unit testing frameworks. So what they do is like they are going to help like developer or any tester who wants to do the unit testing. Okay. So whether that particular functionality is working as expected or not. Okay. To ensure before it is given to the testing team. Okay. So for this, they use this testng framework and they organize this test executions and they want to ensure that it's working fine before we go and give it to the testing team. Okay. So here you can see what are the things that are considered as part of like testing is like we have annotations. These annotations will help you to organize your test execution. Okay. Then running your tests arbitrarily big thread. Okay. For example, if you have a number of test cases that you want to execute, then this like, we have a threads that we can be created. Okay, so for example, if you want to execute some test, so if you take them as like a process, it will take some time. But in case of threads, it's kind of like process will be divided in the form of threads. Okay, so see all methods in their own thread, one thread per test class. Okay, so for example, if you are organizing some tests that you should be executing all your test cases or methods in a one thread. Okay, so test that your code is multi-thread safe and flexible test configuration and support data-driven testing. Okay, so it's like data-driven testing through the data provider. We look into this. Okay, how do we use this Cinder? So supports for parameters if you want to supply the parameters. So right away we are hard coding the things, right? So in case of like if you want to open the Chrome browser or username, password, everything can be passed as like a parameter. Okay, powerful execution model, no more test suite. Okay, so we don't have like we don't have any kind of like a test suites or that should be designated for each and every test. Okay, so I'll talk about this test suite and how do we execute them. Okay, supported by variety tools and plugins. So it will be supporting Eclipse, IDEA, Maven, etc., etc. IntelliJ, everything will be supported here. Okay, so then we have like Bean shell. So do not worry about like Bean shell for further flexibility. So this we don't have anything related to our testing. So next is like JDK functions for running and logging. So no more dependencies. So here what it does is like it will have like internal JDK dependency. So it will take care of it. And depends methods for application server testing. Okay. So depends on methods like we have a different ways of using this particular execution or handling the execution. So that can be depends on groups or depends on methods. So we'll discuss about those things in detail. Okay. So here it is like sampling simple. It has given like see, we have a class here and we have before class, before test and test. Okay. So what it does is like it will configure everything. Like if you want to set up browser setups, everything can be done here in this before class or before test. Test is like your pure test case. Okay. So whatever you write, if you want to click on that button or validate something, that is nothing but a test. Okay. Likewise, we are going to organize the test and we are going to keep them in a group. So we have a .testng XML file. There we again configure everything. Okay, so we'll discuss about this thing down the line. So what are the requirements that we need to have? JDK editor here. Okay, so this is like if you want to go with testng, so we should have a supported JDK. So 7.5 requires this, 7.6 requires this. Okay, so we have latest things, so that we have to use, like, this will be supported. This part of JDK will be supported by 7.6, and 7.5 is supporting JDK. Now, how do we exactly use them? Okay, so I can see locations of the project, and how do we download them? It's like you can see when you click on this, so it will take you like this is GitHub, where GitHub, like, all the versions are available here, release notes. Okay, so want to take the latest one, 7.8, because we have a JDK 17, so it will support. See, it has given like from where it is like coming on behalf of this testing. I'm pleased to announce that availability of 7.80 is like available here in this location. Okay, so you can see test-ng like 7.8.0 java.jar. Okay, so let me just click on this. We have a jar file here. So, and you can see this is what we have to download. Okay, so I'll just download both of them. So we have a jar file and we have Java docs also. Let me just go here, go to my project, and I'm going to add it. Okay, how do we add the libraries or as jar files? Then we have to go here, right click on this build configuration. You can see this one. Okay, add external file. So now you can see, go to the downloads, you can have this. Okay, so both of them are available. I'll add this one also, Java docs also. So here you can see we have this jar file. So how do we test it whether this is added or not? So let me just create a simple class here. I'll go on the top. Right click on this. Selenium. Test-ng. Go here. Now it is like big announcement for us, like main is not required now. Okay, so main method is not required. Okay, so simple test ng class. So now what I'm going to do is like I'll just write iterate test and then public void and test me. Public void test. See, if the test-ng is not added, then it says like it will not be recognized. But here you can see import test. Okay, so it is coming like if we have this jar file available in the reference libraries, then it will ask you to have this one. Okay, so that's nothing but import this test-ng. Okay, so all the things like test-ng annotations, everything will be coming from like before, and annotations or listeners, everything will be coming from org.testng.testng. Okay, so you can see that annotations are coming here. So if you take listeners would be coming here. So all these things like whatever related to test-ng will be coming from this package org.testng.annotations to test. It is coming up here. So if you want to use the listeners would be coming from this particular package. Okay, so we need to import this package to support them. So just I'm going to say this is the first test-ng. That's the example. Okay, so I'll just say this one. Right click on this, you can see we have run as. So here you don't see that main application Java. Okay, so here we see that it's a test-ng class, right? So it will show that test-ng test. Execute this. Now you can see there is a additional thing that will come as like results of running test classes here. Okay, so you can see what we are able to see that where is it located? Default suite, default test. And here under this sample, and we have a one test method. Okay, so it will show you like what are the suite we have, what is the test, and what is the class, and inside that method. Okay, so here you can see the output is like this is a first test-ng example. Okay, so we don't need to write now main method and everything. So test-ng will take care of like it internally, it will call this main method. Okay, so if we are writing the test, that's nothing but it's going to call the main method internally. So likewise, we can write number of tests. Okay, so test 1, test 2. So here this is like first test-ng example. Okay, so let's go and execute this and see. So just we are testing that whether the test change is installed properly or not. Okay, you can see how many methods we have, 1, 2, 3. And here you can see output. This is the output. Okay, so now it will show that what is the status of this. Okay, so once we execute this, we get to see that. Let me refresh this. The test output folder. Okay, so test output folder will be created. So here it will show that default. What is that default report that has been generated? Okay, so for this we have to open this one. Okay, except index.html. Open. So here if I open it, it will open it html.html. So I'm going to open with the browser. Okay, you can see this report generated. So how many tests? We have 1 test, and under this we have 3 methods. Okay, showing method. So we have test 1, test 2, and test 3. Okay, so it will show up these methods here. Okay, so 3 methods, and if you want to see the chronological order, how much time it has taken, it will show you. Okay, so this many number of seconds it has. This is like by default, we are going to get some report. Okay, so but we can organize this, like, we can, this is like helpful only in terms of like looking at that particular information about the methods. But what happens, like what is the different steps that we are going to add, and if the test case is failing, how do we handle this? Everything we are going to discuss as part of like extend report. Okay, so the extend report will help you to visualize the results clearly. Okay, but here we have like a default reports. So another thing is like, guys, here you can see we have emailable report also. Just open with browser. Here also we can see. Okay, so this will show you like, now you can see that how many test cases that we have run and what is the status of it. So it is like all of the test cases are passed. It is showing passed results. Okay, how many passed and how many milliseconds it has taken and what is the test name. Everything will be recorded here. Okay, so this is nothing but emailable. But this will not give you a complete details about like what is happening in this inside this. Okay, so for example, if you're writing some logs and everything, those logs will not be properly documented. So for this, we are going to use extend reports. Okay, so that we'll discuss down there. So just I'm closing it. So this is like first way of doing it. I'm just closing this. Okay, so what is it? What is that we can do here is like just go to this test.ng.org for installation of the download and installation of the JARs is like, go here and you can see there is documentation clearly defined, right? So click on this locations of the projects. You can click on this test.ng. It will take you to this particular location. Go to the release notes. Click on it. It will show you like org.test.ng. Right click on open a new tab. So here you can see we have this documentations. Okay. So source documentation is also there. I'll try to download the source documentation and I'll add it to the project so that we can look into the each and every aspect of the annotations or any other things that we are using as part of our project. Right click, build path, configure build path, add external jars, and you can have the sources. Okay, so whatever we are using is like 7.8. So when I try to see the description of this, so it should be there. So it is showing everything. Okay, so this is like interface, interface, and we have like all the groups enabled. Depends on groups, depends on members, timeouts, invocation, consider whatever we have as part of like this particular test annotation, it will show. Okay, so okay, so we'll look into these things little deep, but I just want to explain you like how do we exactly identify whether the test change is installed or not. Okay, so this is our first way, and second way would be like, I'll just go back. So here we have like Eclipse plugin. Okay, so Eclipse plugin. How do we add this plugin to the Eclipse? So here you can see more for the download.html. Here we have like install release. Okay, so just you click on this. So what it is doing now? It is like it is asking you to search for this. Okay, so other thing is like what you can do is like directly you can open the Eclipse. and you can drag and drop them. Okay, so drag and drop that installation here. Okay, when you drag and drop this installation, it will take you to this Eclipse Marketplace. So already this TestNG is installed on my machine in this Eclipse. So it's not required for me to add it again. Okay, so let's see that if it's not installed, we can install it. It is already there. See what it is doing now, it is downloading the TestNG. Okay, so directly what you need to do is like click on that Eclipse plugin. There you'll get a install icon. That icon you need to drag and drop into the Eclipse. So it will add in the plugin. Okay, let me go and check in the installation. Installed, already installed. See, we have like Eclipse for installation. If it is not installed, it will show it here. Okay, so it will show it here. Just you need to click on that. Okay, let me just type it. Otherwise, there is another option is like you can just type TestNG and click on search. Okay, so this when you need to do is like you need to do it in Eclipse. See, it's already showing installed. Okay, I'll close it. This is like second way. What is the second way? So go here, click on this Eclipse plugin, come here, and you can just click on this, or else you can drag and drop this. Okay, drag and drop this into the Eclipse. Okay, it will automatically open Marketplace. Okay, so in this Marketplace, you need to type TestNG. Okay, when you click on this TestNG, it will show you like TestNG for Eclipse. Click on this, like it will show install. Okay, click on the install, it will install this TestNG. Okay, so this is second way. And third way is like directly you can go here and you can see that install new software. Okay, so there you need to type TestNG. See, this is what we have. Okay, this is the URL that we need to have. So when you click on this DL library, DL bintree.com, so I'll show you like where is this located. So what you need to do is like you need to type this. Okay, so when you type this one, so it will try to fetch that software. See, no software found. Okay, let me just check it from the official site here itself. Yeah, so here it is given like, okay, so go back and you can see for more information, you can either download TestNG, read the manual, browse the links to the top. Okay, so now you can click on this. You can see there is like Eclipse installation, Eclipse plugin. Okay, so you can see what are the things that we have to do is like we have to follow these steps as I followed here, right? So select help install software. Okay, so go to select help install new software. Come here. Again, you need to see this is what we have to update the site. Okay, copy this. Come here, work with, you need to paste this one here. Okay, now you can just, select this one. Now you see, it is showing TestNG. Okay, all items are installed. It says like all items are installed already. So if it is not installed, it will show you a few things like it's not installed. So then you can just select this one and you can click next. It will start installing the TestNG. Okay, so this is like third way. And fourth way, we have like Maven dependencies. Okay, when we add this Maven dependencies directly, this dependency will be added. Okay, so plugins, how do we install the plugin is like go back and you can see this is the location of the project. So from where we are going to get it, go to this. So you can see that welcome in welcome board also we have this. Come here and you can just scroll down. You can see the location of the projects. Okay. First way is like you can just click on it and you can download those jars and add the jars to your project. Okay. And second thing is like click on this Eclipse plugin and then you need to drag and drop this installation. Okay. Install plugin. So otherwise you can see the documentation of HTML. Everything will be given here. Okay. So the third way is like, here it's like third way. Directly you can just go to this help, install new software and you need to add this site. After adding this site, you can just proceed like click next, then just after downloading it, just you need to close it. Okay. So it will be added as part of like testing, like TestNG to the Eclipse. Okay. So this is the download process. Guys, would you try it on your machines now? Like, just I want just at least go with this one. This will be easy for us. Okay. So which one? This drag and drop would be easy for us. Just you go to this official site and drag and drop this Eclipse plugin into this test engine, like into this Eclipse, sorry. Then it will open the marketplace and it will start adding your test engine to your Eclipse. Hardly it would take 10 minutes, guys. So please do it. So that let me just check if you have any issues with this.
Shrikant, my system is not working and I'm running this session on a mobile, so I will try it later on.
Okay, sure. Yeah, if you are comfortable with this, like, just check this video again and try to install it. Okay. So the first way is like this is you try with the first way, test engine, you go to test engine and you can take the latest versions of it.
Sir, is it works Java 20 versions?
Sorry. Devi, can you?
Sir, Java, which version?
Java version is like I'm using. I'll show you like how do we check the Java version here. I'm going to CMD. It's 17, I guess. Okay, so you can just check Java one version. It is 19 version. Okay, so it will support this. So whatever we are using is will support it. Okay, so just try to check that one. So here in documentation is clearly given. Like you can go here. Oh, 1 second. I'll show you again. Go back. But so it is showing these are the requirements for 7.6 onwards. Like it supports Java JDK 11 and above. It's nothing but it says like and above. So you can have above versions. Okay, will you try it later, guys, or shall we proceed with the next steps? So you can take your time and just watch this video and try to install them. Okay, so one way is like directly you can add the jars, and second way is like we can install it through marketplace, and third way is like we can install it through new software. That's nothing but in Eclipse. And fourth way is like we can go with the Maven. Okay, so Maven is not yet started. I'll show you how do we do it when we go with the Maven. So first and foremost thing that we are going to see is like introduction. The introduction is like test engine framework. So everything is documented, guys. This is like very good side in terms of like test engine. If you have any doubts, just go through this documentation. Okay. So it is very clearly given like how do we exactly use them and what are the different things that we perform as part of our testing. Okay. So now you can see this introduction, it says like it's a test engine framework and it's going to support it. What are the things that we are going to do is like see. We are going to write the business logics and we use the help of like annotations. And what are those annotations that we have here is like here. So it's like clearly given. So before suite is like annotated method will be run before all tests in the suite have run. Okay. So that's nothing but see. Before suite is like before starting something. Kind of like, if you want to execute your test cases. So before suite will be executing first. Okay. And this is the only annotation which will run only once. Okay, only once for your execution, entire execution. And after suite is like the annotated method will be run after all tests in the suite have run. Okay, so all tests in the suite. And for example, we have 10 test cases. Okay, so I'll go here and you can see that we have. Let me open this again. Test ng. I'll close all the things. That's all. See, we have 3 test cases. For these 3 test cases, this before suite will be running only once and after suite will be running only once. Okay. So next is like before test. The annotated method will be run before any test method belonging to the class inside the test runtime. Okay. So this will see that before test. If you configure something, if you want to do something before test, For example, if you want to load, the application in Chrome browser, so you can put it in before test. Before, like after test, if you want to close it, you can close it. Okay, so that's nothing. But we are doing like this will happen only for the test cases that we want to execute. Okay, so this is for the before test. After test is like before test, what we have configured, it will be closing after test. Okay, before groups is like if you want to do something, I'll discuss about before groups and after groups later. We'll go with the before class. Okay, so before class is like if you want, like, in test we have number of classes. In that classes we have number of methods. Okay, so before class is like if you want to configure something on top of, like, methods. Okay, methods in the sense now before class I want to pass some parameters. I want to set something username password for each and every test cases. Okay, so in that case, if you want to do those things, we can go with the before class. Okay, we can configure everything in before class. After class is like after executing that particular method as part of the classes, it will execute. Okay, so next is like before method. If you want to do something before method, so we can do it before method. That's nothing but for this before method will be executed for each test. Okay, so for each test that you want to do something, then we can use this before test. Okay, so I'll try to create a simple example with the help of these annotations. Okay, I'm going here. I'll just skip before groups and after groups first, and then we can go with the rest of the things. Okay. Sample. Okay, I'll just take example annotation examples. REST-ng annotation examples. Okay, so here you see before suite. I'll just remove these things. Click void. Click void before suite. So we'll try to import everything. So if I put star, then it's going to import everything. So this I'm going to put at the end. Click void after suite. Okay, so I'm going to write it as like before suite. And same thing I'm going to put it here. Just I'll change it as like after suite. Try to there is one annotation that is like test annotation. Okay. So before class. And this is like before method. Like before test. Public void. This is actual test. Okay. After test. After class. After method. After suite. Before suite. Before test. Before class. before method, and here test one. Okay, so I'm just putting it as like test one. So I'll paste it as like after test after suite after suite of this. Okay, so now what I will do is like I'll try to have this. Okay, we'll execute this once. Okay, so then we'll see that what is the sequence that it's going to execute. Okay, go to the console and you can see before suite will be executing only once. Okay, so you can see before suite, after suite. It's showing like after suite here. Okay, so let me just put it in this way: before suite, before test, before class, before method, test, after. Okay, it's like after method. I just missed it here. After method, after class, after test, and after suite. Okay, let me execute it again. You go here. So before suite, see, it will be executing before executing all the test cases. Okay, so after suite is like you can see. After suite is like it will be executed only once. Okay, before suite and after suite will be executed only once. So before test and after test. See how these annotations will be executed is like in the sequence: suite first, test after that class, after that method. Okay, now you see method and the test and after method. Okay, so it's like a sequence: test, suite, test, class, and method. So within that we have a test, actual test. Okay, actual iterate test is like it's a base execution. Okay, so that is the method that we want to execute. And if you want to perform, like say for example, if you want to execute this test case, what are the things that you want to configure before execution? So that will be done as part of this before suite, before test, before class, and before. Okay, so this before method and before method and after method will be executed for every test that we have inside this particular class. Okay, so that's nothing but see, for example, we have this is test one, test 1, test 2, and test 3. Okay, this is 2 and this is 3. So observe careful now. See what is happening here: before method, test 1, after method; before method, test 2, after method; before method, test 3, after method. Okay, so this before and after methods will be executed for every test. Okay, for every test that we have as part of the class. Okay, so this is important that you need to remember this one. Okay, so down the line all the things will be configured in this way. So now it is fine. I want to have, so before class 1, we have another class here before class 2. Before class 1. Now I will execute this one. See, now what is the difference here? See what is happening? If suite is executed only once, before suite, before test is executed only once, before class 1, before class 2. Okay, so now you can see method, before method, after method, before method, after method, and before method, after method, test 1, test 2, and test 3. Okay, I see class 1, class 2. Okay, so what it is doing is like, if for every test we have like number of classes within the test. Okay, for example, if we are like this can be understood when we create the test.ng XML file. Okay, so but for now it's like how the sequence is executing. So this is a sequence that we are going to execute. Okay, so let me add the test here. So if you want to add the test, you can add the test also before test. So before test will be executed for every class that we have. Okay, before test 1 and before test 2. Here I'm putting this, and after test. separate test will be created. Okay. That's nothing but within that test we have like classes, and after that we have methods. So here you can see all three test cases executed. Okay, but within like we have a suite, we have a test, inside that we have a class, inside that class we have a methods. And I can see before suite, before test one, before test two. Okay, so class one, class two. But method is like before method, after method. What they are doing is like for every test there is like before method and after method. Okay, so this also for every test we have before method and after method. Okay, but classes you see they are executing, but they are executing within this test. See, if you write somewhere else, okay, it's not only that you can write, you can you need to write only in the sequence. That is not the case actually. Okay, you can write anywhere. Okay, so you can write anywhere, but just still you see the sequence here. So what is the sequence it is executing? You can see before suite, before test one, test two. Okay, so you can write anywhere. It's not mandatory that you have to write in a sequence, but it's like sometimes it is suggested to have these things created in sequence. Okay, so now it's like this is very important, guys. Okay, before method and after method will be executed for every test that we have created, but rest of the things are like they are executing in sequence. Okay, but these things can be clearly explained when we are using the TestNG method. Okay, because we will be creating suite tag, and inside that we are going to add this test tag. After that we are going to add the class tag. Inside that we are going to have this configured methods configured. Okay, so if you want to have like multiple classes within that one single test, you can create them. Okay, so classes are, these are like virtual, guys. Okay, so test class, these are virtual, suites are virtual, but methods are like which are visible to us. Okay, which are visible to us. So those things will be configured within this TestNG XML file. But you can see the sequence now, how the sequence is executing now. It is executing like suite first, test second, class third, and next is like method. Okay, so this is nothing but actual method, actual logic that we are writing here. Okay, so I'll take simple example here. For example, if you want to before test, if you want to configure, what is that we have? So let me extend base class. Okay, so in that before test, I'm going to call a method called get browser. Okay, Chrome. So after executing the test, I want to close it. So after test, I'm going to close it. So what I'm going to do is like get, otherwise I'll be using t-dot. Before method, I want to get the method name. Okay, so for this I'll be using, don't worry about what I'm trying to use it now. So it is called a reflections. Okay, so these are like reflections. If you want to get the information about this particular method name, which method that you want to execute, like it will help you to get that one. Okay, so method dot get name. And it's the same thing here. Get URL. Okay, so I want to log into will add some Gmail. So I'll execute this and you can see I want to get the text of it also. So we have a get driver, right? Get driver, get title. Want to get the title on this. Only one test will be one test. What it does, like it's going to open the web page. First, it will log into log. See what is happening now? Google, Gmail, and YouTube. Finally, it will close this browser after completing the test. Okay. So what is happening in this case? Now you see, first test is like before test. What it is doing now? Before test 2 is executed, and inside that we have classes. And first one is like before method test 1. Okay, I'm getting the method name. And what is the title? Google. Okay. And second, it's like it's after this, after method, what is happening now? It is closing the method 1 and before method 2. So it is getting the title of it. Okay. After this, it's like it is just closing that. Okay. I'm like, if you have any configurations, you can do that closing and all. So before method and YouTube, and one test is executed at once. You can see. Okay. Test 1 executed. And if you have any before test 2, before test is like it did not execute, but here you can see test 1 and test 2 are executed. Okay. See what is happening in this case? It's like kind of sequence it is taking. See, sorry, it is executed here. Before test, what it is doing is like it is launching the browser. You can see. It is before test, it is launching the browser. Okay. So before test 1, it is launching the browser here. And after that, what it is doing is like it is trying to execute this case and this case. That's nothing but before annotation, and after that, before method. Okay. So not to confuse you guys, I'll just do one thing. I'll delete these things. Okay. So which are repeatedly. For example, I was showing it, but I'll just remove these things. Okay. Before method, yeah. After class, yeah. I'll remove these things. Yeah. Now you can see. So test will be like suite will be executed first. After that, test will be executing. So it will open one browser at a time. And after that, it's going to go to this class and it's going to execute this method. Okay. So you can put this before test if you want, like, only open one browser for test, one test. Okay. And do the actions, like all the actions that you can do. So before class is also similar. Within that test, we want to have one class. Within that class, we want to execute only one browser at a time. Okay. So for example, see, you can configure in class also. Okay, we can configure in class also. So here, instead of putting it in after test, we are going to put it in after class and before class. Loading before, like instead of loading it in before test, we are doing it in before class. Okay, so it produces the same results. But you see now what is the difference here? Browser will be loaded in class, not the test. Okay, now you see. Google first, get the title, then Gmail, get the title, YouTube, get the title, then close it. Okay, whatever you configure as part of class, that will be executed. See now, and before it was executing, like, creating instance for the browser in test. Now it is doing it in class. Okay, now it's not like that I want to have the browser. Okay, so browser, each method it has to open the browser, execute the test and close the browser. In that case, what we have to do is like we have to configure it in before method. Okay, so before method I want to do it. Now you see the difference here. So in one browser it was executing all the test cases, but now it is like it's not like that. Okay, it will open browser for every test. Will open browser for every test and close it. 3 times the browser should be open. Okay. First time it will open, it will enter Google, close it. Then second time it will open, it will enter Gmail, close it. And third time it will open YouTube and close it. Okay. Meanwhile, you'll get the title of it. Same one. Method, it will open, Chrome, got the title and close it. After method, it's closing it. Okay, I'll write a simple statement here. So closed, let's say the browser closed. I execute it again. So now it's like kind of like if you want to configure different browsers here. Okay, for example, if you want to configure here Edge browser and you want to configure Firefox browser. So for that, what we need to do is like we need to add a test.ng XML file. There we can configure it. Okay, so I'll show you how do we do it in the next classes. For now, you can see that what happens is like it will open browser for every test. We see that now you can look into this, how this is executed, and we'll try to go and look at the report also. See how it is showing. We have one test and 3 methods. Okay. So this is kind of like we have method which is like it's not showing anything, right? Which retro theme. So here also we get the same thing. So I'll close it and try to open the other email available. Is also getting this report like this. So this is all about like how do we use the annotations? Okay, before suite, before test, before class, and before method, test, and followed by the after things. Okay, after method, after class, after test, and after suite. So this like suite will be executed only once, test will be executed based on our configuration, classes will be executed based on our configuration, and before method, after method will be executed for every test in the class. Okay, so this is all about like test changing, and we'll discuss. There are a lot of things that we have to discuss, guys. There are a bunch of things. This you can see. How do we create the test.ng XML file? This is like sample test.ng XML file, and what are the different things that we are going to apply as part of like this particular test, like at the rate test, and before wherever you want, you can use this one. And the other thing is like data provider. We are going to discuss listeners, then we are going to discuss parameters, and then we are going to discuss what are the things that we apply as part of like test annotation. And on top of it, we have other things like retry and lasers. How do we execute number of times the test case? If the test case is failing, then we can execute number of times. Okay. And after that, we are going to create the framework, and we'll see that how do we exactly handle this particular execution in terms of like our like whatever requirements we have. Okay. Okay, guys, this is what we are going to discuss as part of test.ng. And one more thing that I want to discuss is like how do we take this screenshot, failed screenshot. Okay, for example, if something is failing, okay, something is failing. In that case, I want to take the screenshot. Okay, so that we'll discuss. But here I'll take a simple example. Taking a screenshot of particular failed case. Take screenshot. It's a very simple example. I'm just discussing out of the context in terms of like test.ng. It's not related to test.ng, but I'm just taking it as like part of our curriculum. Okay. So we started with test.ng and we saw that how do we download it and how this test annotations will be executed. Okay. So in certain cases, if something is failing, then I want to capture the test case for that. Okay. So capture the test case, that's nothing but a screenshot of that particular test case, and we can do it in this way. Okay. So I'm just using test here. Okay. Because already we have started with test.ng, right? I'm using the test here. Click void. Take screenshot. Okay. So first we'll look into a simple screenshot. How do we take the screenshot of a particular screen? Then we can discuss about like how do we take the failed screenshot. Okay. So here also I'm taking base class here. So to get it, get browser, and here I'm going to put hello. So slowly we are getting into the topics like how do we create the framework also. Okay, get element. For example, I'll load the browser and then I'll type the URL, and then I'm going to take some site register. So here I'm intentionally making some mistake here, okay, so that it can capture this screenshot. So y.xpath, some input, grade place folder, so equals to first name, so here I'm writing it is like private frame take screen. Okay, just I'm writing. So to take the screenshot, what we have to do is like we have to use take screenshot interface. Okay, so this interface you can see what it does is like this is an interface and it's going to capture, indicates a driver of an HTML element and can capture a screenshot and store it in a different place. Okay, so one is like we can use this take screenshot. This is nothing but it will store it in a file, and this is nothing but this it's going to store it in a 64-bit. Okay, base.64 is like it's going to store it in the form of like a bytes. Okay, first we'll take this one. Okay, first we'll try to take this one. So take screenshot, and we have to convert typecast into a driver. Okay, so typecast into a driver, because interfaces directly we cannot create object for this. Okay, as we discussed JavaScript Explorer, it is similar. Okay, take screenshot. We have a method called get screenshot as. Okay, get screenshot as. I'll just copy this, you can see. Okay, get screenshot as. Okay, so this is what I have created, right? I'm just going to replace this one. So I'll add this one here, otherwise I can remove this one. Okay, I'll just remove this one and I'll try to take this one. We can just add it. Try to take this one. So what this line does is like take screenshot. Select get driver that I need to take. Okay, take screenshot is an interface. That interface, what it does is like it's going to capture the screen. Okay, the window screen on the driver. Okay, so that is the reason why we are typecasting it to a driver, and get screenshot as like what is the output that you want to get is like it's in the kind of like a file. Okay, it's in the kind of like a file. So I want to capture it in the file in the form of like a file. So I need to take it as like file as a return type, and output type is like this is a part of this particular text screenshot. Okay, so add source declaration. This I want to return. Okay, so here now you see what it does is like this line will go and get the screenshot, and this will be returning as like a file. Okay, so now we got this file and we want to place it in the location. Okay, in this particular location, in the project location. So where do you want to place it? Place this one is like I want to place it under the Ashok 82. Okay, not in the source folder, as a folder that I want to create here, and I want to place it. So for this, what I'm going to do is like I'm going to create file destination is equals to new file. I can pass it as like dot field screens. Okay, otherwise I can put it as like a screens. Screens. After that, I want to give the name it as like fail.png. Okay, I want to store this file as part of like a PNG. Okay, PNG file. Now we'll be using a method called file utils. Okay, so file utils class, in that file utils class we are going to use copy file. Okay, the source file, this is a source file and this is a destination file. I'm capturing the screenshot and I want to store it into this particular location. Okay, so this is nothing but it will capture the screenshot and it will be there as part of like system clipboard. So from there I want to copy it to this destination. Okay, so here I'm going to give the destination, and what is that we have to give is like you can see source. What is the source file that we have here is like screen. This is very simple. Screen short comma and give the destination. Okay, now what is that we are getting is like we are getting the destination. It's going to store, right? So I will be returning the destination path. Okay, so absolute path. So here what is happening now? See, I'm giving some invalid case, right? So here what I'm going to do is like I'll be using try catch box. Once the exception is occurred, then I want to capture the screenshot. We got print stack trace, and after that we'll be getting okay. So after this, see, there is a placeholder and its name is different here. Okay, so I'll show you what I'm trying to do is like I'm trying to identify this element first, and I want to do some actions. So here we have a placeholder, right? So let me just go it and input type, and it's like placeholder is like first name. Okay, input type and placeholder is like first name. So first name is like different here. Okay, so I'll show you what is the first name actually. We have is like this is the first name, and here we have a name change. So it will wait for 30 seconds, then it's going to take the screenshot. Okay, because that case is failed. It's going to execute this. It's waiting for that element to be available, but it's not available. What it does is like it's going to capture the screenshot. What it is doing now, you can take let's go here and refresh. You got it, right? The screenshot. I'm just trying to find out what is that exception that we got. Okay, the timeout exception. We got the timeout exception. Visibility of that element located. Okay, now open this. You got this screenshot. Otherwise, you can just go here and go to the properties, open this, open it. You got this, right? So it is like it is failing. It is failing. That is the reason why it's throwing this particular, it's capturing this screenshot. Okay. So what it is doing now, it is coming here and trying to identify this element, and its element is not, it's not there. And what it is doing is like it's printing the stack trace, and it's coming to the screenshot and it's capturing the screenshot. Okay. So this is like first way of capturing the screenshot. The another way is like we can still go ahead and do it with the help of like, now it's kind of like we are going to 1 versus 2. And second way is like this is what will be returning the screenshot. We'll be capturing that screenshot and we'll be returning as part of like base 64. Okay. So base 64 we need to, what is this base 64? It is a format. Okay. It's a kind of a format. So here B driver. So this base 64, what it does is like it's going to convert this as part of like a byte stream. Okay. So what I'm going to do is like I'll take a byte stream here and then I'll be capturing this screenshot. Dot get bytes. Okay. For this, what we have to do is like we have to use file output stream FOS equals to new file output stream, and we have to give the file location. Okay. So here it's like file based location, right? I'll be taking the location here. So here I'm going to use the destination. See, after that, what I'm going to do is like I'm going to write that file FOS dot write, and I'm going to write that bytes here. FOS dot close. Okay, so destination is like file path. I'm going to get it. Okay, so here I want to print it. It's like 2. Take screenshot 2. Here we're taking, what it is doing is like, see, it's simple. Base 64 is like kind of a bytes it's going to capture. Okay, so it's like a file, but it's like a kind of like a bytes. Okay, it's going to return me a string. Okay, so this thing what I'm doing is like I'm capturing this particular base 64 and I'm getting those bytes, and I'm just taking this as like a byte array, and this byte array will be written to this particular location destination. So using this file output stream, we already looked into the file handle, right? So it's kind of like a stream. Bytes can be like, you know, images or any other strings or files that can be read using the bytes. So what I'm doing is like file output stream. This file output stream will help you to create a stream between the source and the destination. Okay, so it's kind of like we are writing this bytes to this destination using the file output stream. That's nothing but FOS dot write. Okay, we are writing it, and after that I'm closing. Okay, so after that what I'm going to get is like I'm going to get the destination of it. Let me go and execute this. So this time what I'm going to do is like I'll just try to take another site. Okay, another site, or for example I'm going to just navigate to the different site, web table. Okay, let me go and execute this now. Closing this. So why I'm discussing this screenshot is like now we have like framework being designed, right? So in this case, what we do is like we are going to capture the failed screenshots. Still, it is waiting for that element to be located. So once it gets failed, then it will come here and it will try to take the screenshot, and it will print the location of the screenshot. See, now it is failing. Okay. Now what is happening now? So it is pasting this particular screenshot in this location. Okay, it is showing up this location. Let me just go ahead and refresh this. Now we should get the different screenshot. Should be coded and it should show me this. But it did not add that one. Let me just check why this is not added here. So it is like it's showing broken link. Okay, so it's capturing, but it's showing the broken link. Let me just go ahead and see. Bytes have taken the byte 64. Now I'm going to stream BS64. So BS64 is the kind of format that it's going to convert into the form of like BS64. Okay, so we can decode it also. Decode, that's the thing, but we need to decode this, but getting bytes is also fine. We're getting those bytes and we are trying to paste it here. Screenshot output as like base64 file destination and just creating that file destination. And after that, but this is like we are capturing the screenshot, right? So I'm trying to show you like this is another way that it should capture screenshot as like output.base64 and base64 would be returning as this. Otherwise, I'll directly take this one screenshot and I'm going to write it into the location. So what is that? Is like we can take base 64. So util dot, I just want to convert this, okay? So base 64 dot. So whatever we have is like I want to decode. So it's nothing but it will be encoded into that particular stream, okay? Decode of screen 64. Okay, so what it does is like it will encode this particular screenshot image in the form of like base64. Okay, so base64 is kind of like a format. Now you can see. So what it is doing is like see output type and string converts this from the particular image into a string. Okay, it will return into the like base64 PNG. Okay, this is one kind of format. Okay, so if this is not working, then you can use this one also. I'm just trying to show you like how do we exactly use this one. Okay, so now instead of writing into the bytes, what I'm doing is like I'm just capturing the screenshot. I'm decoding it with the help of like a base64 decoder. Okay, so let me go and execute this one. Can directly go here and we'll see what it does. It will wait for that element. Yes, now it is failing. It will show you this is the screenshot. Let me just refresh this. Try to open. Now we got it. Okay. I'll open it separately. It is opening in other sources. Yes. It is opening. So from where it is located, see, this is what the file location, right? So screens fail location. Okay. So I'll explain it little. Yeah, I'll give the detailed description like how do we exactly do it. Okay. So there are two ways, guys. Okay. One is like take screenshot as two ways of capturing the strings. Okay. One is like it will capture in file, another is like it will capture in strings. File is like directly it will create a output as like a file. And string is like it is going to convert that image, okay, particular image into the form of like base64. What is base64? Base64 is like it's a output type. Okay, it's an interface like in this interface, it's an output type, and in this interface, we have like this base 64 is like a kind of a output that it's going to supported by the text screenshot. Okay, so this base 64, it's kind of like a constant. Okay, so what it does is like internally you can see defines output like the screenshot and types of the screenshot output, and after that what it is like, it's going to convert this particular output as like a base 64. So that's nothing but it's going to convert into the form of like .png file. So now it is fine. It's a string. Okay, it will convert this particular image into a string. But how do we convert this string into the image back again? Okay, image in the sense it's kind of like an image that we have to convert, and we have to write that image into that particular location. Okay, how do we do it? So directly we cannot do it. There are ways like we can use this byte, but here I just use the get bytes. Okay, so it is getting the bytes and it's writing, but it's not writing in the form of like a base 64. Here also we can use again same. Okay, so base 64 dot get decoder. Okay, these are like decoding again. So it is encoded into the string. Now that PNG is encoded into the string. Now we are trying to convert that string into the form of like .png file. Okay, now you see again decode and bytes of source. Okay, what is that source that we have to supply? Is like we have to supply the source. Okay, now we can write this as like a byte. Directly we can write it as like a byte. So file output stream, what it does? File output stream will open a stream to write data from application to the file. Input stream is like from file to the application. If you want to read something, then you can use file input stream. If you want to write something, then you can use file output stream. Okay, so here I'm trying to write this information into this file. So here also we can do the same thing, but we have a file utilizer file that will take care of like copying files from this location to this location. But here we are capturing that file, converting into the base 64, then again we are decoding into this particular byte, and after that byte is written into this file. Okay, why do we need to write this one? Is like this is a good practice when we have some images which we want to convert as like a string, then we want to convert into the form of like PNG file. So here it is like it is also okay, but sometimes we can see the broken links. Okay, so here it is like the one other advanced thing that we can convert this into the form of like a string, and then we can convert into the form of like any sort of file format. Okay, so let's go and try to execute it now. So it should produce the same result. So just we pass it like instead of putting this one, we have to write those streams guys. Okay, so I just I did not write it to the destination. Let me just stop it. So destination, new file destination. Yeah, so we have written this. Sorry, I just thought like destination that I'm giving, but here see bytes I'm writing into this destination, and after that I'm closing. Remember guys, WebDriver, JavaScript executor, take screenshot. So these are all interfaces. These interfaces should be typecasted into the driver. Okay, so remote WebDriver, I just kept it aside so that we can discuss in the grid. Okay, so when we are working with the grids, how do we configure grids and how do we execute that particular code in different browsers, that we'll be discussing in grid. So it captured and it closed also. I did not terminate it, so that is the reason why I cannot able to see. Now I'll just refresh it. So it will be replacing this file, right? So I'm going to go through this and open with. We'll use this for all the. Okay, it's not PNG file, right? It is showing it here. Okay, now we got that element is not available, so it is capturing that. Okay, so this is all about the take screenshot, and we'll be discussing these things like why did I discuss this take screenshot now is like we are going to use this when we are working with TestNG, because if anything is failing after a method, if something is failing. Okay, so let me show you here. I'm going to take this one. After test, if something is failing, okay, after method, I want to capture this one. So I'll capture it here. I'll make this one as like public so that we can access this in a second. Take screenshot. Take screen one. Okay, if something is failing in this case, what it does is like it will go and try to take the screenshot, or else it will take 3 screenshots now. Okay, so you want to get that 3 screenshots, right? So it will capture 3 screenshots. Now we'll go and execute this. So, but we have to give the different names for that. Okay, so one is like I'll get the PNG again, it will get the PNG again. Okay, so what I will do is like I'll try to take some int count. Then I can't take it. I'll take this one as like a static int. Okay, so why do we need to take static now? Static int count, if I say count is equals to 1. When it comes to like first time, when it comes to here, it will take count is equals to 1. Second time, it will increment, but it will not go and try to reassign the value. Okay, it will not reassign the value. First time it is like I'm just taking the screenshot and I'm going to increment it. Okay, so here after this we have to count plus 1. So take screen 1, right? So I'm just taking take screen 1. You get 3 screenshots. Okay, instead of say that screen. Oh, I'm sorry. I need to change this one, right? What it is executing? I need to run it from here. If I run it from there, so it will run this class. Okay. We'll take the screenshot of this Google. And it will take the screenshot of this Gmail and close it, and it will take the screenshot of YouTube. Okay, so come here and refresh this. You get 3 screens. Okay, so screen 1, I'll go to this location and I will open that one. So screen 1, Google captured, and screen 2, Gmail captured, and screen 3, YouTube captured. Okay, so like this, what it does is like if after test, now you see that after method, what it is doing now, it is capturing the screenshots. Okay, wherever you call this method, it will capture this. Okay, so I want like if any test case is failing, in that case I want to capture the screenshot. So how do you use it? Is like I'll be adding some condition here. Okay, so that's nothing but try block. So for example, say try, and you can add it here, and you can put the catch block exception, and you can just capture the screenshot if it is failing. Okay, so get driver. I'm just comparing like driver get. So equals to something I'm going to write. Okay, so Google. So if it is not equal to this, what it returns is like it will return true. Okay, I mean like you can write the conditions here. So I just want to see after this I want to capture some element. Okay, I want to get some element by dot xpath. I'll write null. Input at the rate name is equals to something which is like I want to put it as like such. Okay, if it is not there, what it does like it will go and capture the screenshot. Okay, so I just want to, so wherever you want, you can just use this. Okay, so it's like, okay, so let's do it for the one set of things, then we can just look into the rest of the things. Okay, so here what I'm trying to do is like I'm just trying to capture this. Now it will capture only one screenshot. Okay, so I'm putting it here. Only in this case it's going to capture. Okay, but rest of the cases it will not capture because I'm not calling it. I'll just delete all these things. Okay. You see, and when it's so in YouTube, so it's going to capture, but Gmail and Google will not capture. Immediately it is closing, but there it will wait for that element to be available. See now it's searching for that element. Wait for 30 seconds and it will search for that element. If that element is not available, then it's going to capture the screenshot and it will go. Let's try and see. I'll refresh this. So he still did not get it right. So it is not into the exception. Now, after 30 seconds, now you see we got this screenshot. Okay. So just try to open it now. We'll capture the open this. Now you see. So you got this screenshot. Okay. It's like in another format is coming. You see. In another window, it's opening. Here you can see. This is what the screen it has captured. Okay, because this element is not available. So because of that reason, it is like going here and it is like capturing the string. Okay, so this we can use in both ways. Okay. Okay, I'll stop it here, guys. Tomorrow we'll be continue to work on this test engine along with these things. Now, like I'll be appending few more things, like take screenshot and log4j also I'm going to append, and I'm going to append the extend reports also. First we'll go with one after the other. Like first we'll try to complete this test engine dependencies, like whatever we have to discuss. In that I'll be adding these things. Okay. So it's like whatever we are discussing with Java is like first we are going to add it to Selenium concepts like all the APIs, and after that we are going to add this like test engine to the log4j extend report, then Maven 2. Likewise, we'll be adding this training things. Okay. So please practice this, guys. This is very important. Like we need to understand how do we exactly capture the screen, when do we exactly capture the screenshot, and how do we exactly use them as part of our test engine file.
Yeah, okay, Shikhar.
Okay.
I have one question regarding this, just out of curiosity, that you select all the codes and to adjust that, what do you click, give the command?
What is that?
Control
Can you
A.
come back again? I'm sorry for that.
You click complete code, that is Control A, and what do you click to adjust complete code in proper format?
So it's like Control A, Control Shift F.
Okay.
Okay, so it will align everything. For example, if you are writing this one, like you have something like this. Okay, and other thing is like we should not have any errors when we are doing this. Okay, so if error is there, it will not do. For example, if you have this like this, use a Control F, it will not do anything. You should not have any errors. So then only it will adjust the code. Okay, alignment of the code.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So question I have like please. So can you try it again? So it's like very simple for us. Like I'll share the document location with you guys. Please try to use that. So go
Yes,
to
sir.
the document. Yes, sir. You can go to downloads. Here you can see. Otherwise, you can use this one. This would be easy. Welcome. And here we have a steps. Yeah. This is what the location. I'm just trying to. Can you open it? Yeah, guys, we are done with the class. If like you don't have any questions, then I'll just